Hello fellow gardening nerds, it is Willow from Willow's Web Astrology, and yes, it has been quite a long time since I've posted a gardening video. 4 long years, almost 4 years exactly. The last time I was gardening, I was in southeast British Columbia, and that was actually a zone 9 gardening area. I didn't even know we had zone 9 in Canada, but apparently where I was living, I've retroactively looked it up. Zone 9. Well, now, fast forward 4 years and 2 major moves. Okay, I've done 2 major moves in less than 3 years. Oh my goodness, guys, I wouldn't recommend that. But I am back in my home province of Saskatchewan, which is on the Canadian prairies, and we are zone 3 gardeners down here. And basically, that just means that different things grow in BC as grow in Saskatchewan. Plants have to be hardier to survive in Saskatchewan. And there are certain perennials that don't come back, that are actually annuals in Saskatchewan, so they don't come back year after year. And that was the one thing that I had to adjust, was that I was planning on planting a perennial herb garden, but I was educated at the greenhouse that herbs do not come back year after year here. So you just basically grow them as an annual, as a 1 year crop, instead of them coming back. So basically that was the only minor shift I had to make. Luckily the greenhouses in this area are really good at getting plants in that are, already for our zone. So yeah, so anyway, I thought I would show you guys a little garden tour of what I've got going on here. Now, this is, oops, that is not in focus at all. So, okay, so I'm gonna start in my cool weather bed, and so this bed gets partial shade, so it's good for things like lettuce, spinach, Swiss chard, kale, things like that. And that's what I have. I have a row of like mixed green salad, then this is romaine in the middle, and then it's spinach all the way in the back, and then these are chard plants over here. And as you can see, it's doing really nicely. I've already had my first feed of lettuce and spinach out of here, so it's working quite well. The back part is going to be a cool weather flower bed. That's clover on the ground, but I'm actually happy because clover makes a good ground cover to, help choke out the weeds. So I have some little, what my mom always called Johnny jump ups. So these are like little pansies, I think, and they do well in partial shade. And then there's another chunk over there. And then I've planted some other perennial, like shade-loving type things in here, like violets and asters. So far nothing has come up, but that carpet of clover is looking pretty darn good. So just get a long shot here. Now, the way that I created these beds in the backyard, so this cool weather bed here, is by putting down watered down and weighed down cardboard for a year. Well, not quite the year, I guess, from summer to the next spring. And then you basically just kill off the grass with the cardboard, and you use any cardboard that doesn't have a lot of ink on it. I used U-Haul boxes because, hey, I just moved here, so I had plenty of U-Haul boxes. So yeah, I used U-Haul boxes, and you just take all the tape off them and then break them down so that it's like a double layer, and lay it out there and put anything that's heavy on it. So like big rocks or bricks, or I use sod clods, which I'll get more into afterwards. But basically, yeah, you just weigh it down. You wet it with water, the whole thing, really water it down, and then you weigh down the cardboard, and that's it. It can snow on it, and then the next year you have a delightful bed like this one, and things have been growing really well. You can see over here that I've got some cardboard because I decided I'd like to expand this big garden bed here that I've got going on. So on this side, this is my potato patch right here. In the front, you can see I've got yellow onions. So green onions are what you can, the tops are what you can take off there. And then, yeah, don't mind the weeds. This I'm leaving as a weed path. weed path here. You know, we'll see how that works out. Yeah, am I just lazy? Maybe, but I'm just also trying to just work with nature, okay? Working with nature. Now, this, you probably can't see it too well. I literally weeded this thing so nicely, and I said within 4 days, the weeds will be back with a vengeance, and you can see that they are. So there's 2 rows of, beets, yeah. 2 rows of beets, 2 rows of carrots. There. Not sure if you can really see that, but there's little carrot tops, there's some of the little beet tops, and of course you can eat beet greens as well. And there's my beautiful row of onions. So back to the cardboard. So this is exactly how I made this bed, just with the weighed down cardboard, like I said, and it's been beautiful. The dead grass kind of works as a combo of fertilizer and mulch, so that works out well. So you can see what I've done here. Just again, double layer of cardboard, wet it down with a garden hose, and then you can put, so you can see I have like a brick, there's some like cinder blocks, got some wood holding it down, but the main thing I've used is sod clods, and that is because in the front yard, I tried using this weighed down cardboard, but we get such crazy windstorms in Saskatchewan that twice the wind blew the cardboard around like all over the place. So I was like, okay, well, this isn't gonna work in the front, I guess. Thanks a lot, wind. But the backyard is a lot more secluded, so this works excellently. So in the front, what I actually had to do, and this just shows you the absolute determination I had to create garden beds, which I'll show in the next part of the video. But basically, I just used a spade and I wet the ground down and I literally spaded up sod clods. And then this is the sod clods flipped over, flipped so that the grass is on the bottom. Okay, and so I've just used these as my weighing down method, and it's worked quite nicely. Now this, so it's we're in June. We're about the endish. Well, actually today is solstice, June 20th. So making a little solstice garden video, pretty fitting. So this stuff will stay on until probably April of next year. Like obviously it'll have a snowpack over it over the winter because we in the Canadian prairies here. And then by next spring, all the grass will be dead and I can just remove this cardboard, and then this cardboard can actually be used as browns for the compost, which we will get to next. Oh, look at these beauties. Oh yeah, baby. This is one of the best gardens I've ever had as far as like successful germination and growing. So, okay, so this is my little compost bin, which I'm pretty excited about as well. It's the first time I've had one of these guys. So you can see the top of the compost. That's kind of like the stuff that hasn't broken down yet. And then there's a little trap door on the side where you can take the stuff that's ready to go. And then this is my my destroyed cardboard pile. This is my browns pile that I'm gonna keep for mixing with the greens. And so basically when you make compost, you want to mix browns and greens, and browns is anything that's brown basically, right? And so cardboard, paper, dried leaves, what else would be browns? I don't know. Paper products and dried leaves and stuff like that are your browns. And then the greens are like fruit and vegetable scraps, green leaves, you know, things of that nature. So you layer those two things, browns and greens, and it eventually breaks down. I believe the ratio you're trying for is 3 parts browns to 1 part Greens, it may be 2 parts browns to 1 part greens. Like, you know, look it up if you really want the scientific data, because I know you have to use, you should have more browns than greens, but I definitely don't weigh it out scientifically like that at all. Okay, so moving on. And yeah, so I actually do have compost from last year that is ready to go, but this soil is so good because it's, you know, it's just freshly made into garden soil, and it's also, it's actually nice soil, luckily enough. And it had the dried grass for, you know, fertilizer, so everything is doing well. Now, this is another bed that I did with cardboard, and it's all along my hedge, you can see, my hedge bed. And these are all shelling peas. Get down on close so you guys can see what these little peas get. And this is a dwarf variety that apparently doesn't need trellising. I'm really hoping, because I don't have enough trellis for all these guys. So you can see I got a pretty long row of peas going on here. I'm gonna try to be as close to green pea self-sufficient as I can get, because I eat a fair amount of green peas. So, and they're just easy to freeze. So these are all shelling peas. And then on the other side of the stick are snap peas. So I have 2 rows of them there. And they look the same as shelling peas. And then this row here. And those will possibly need trellising. I do have some trellis for them. Then in this corner, I have 2 little tomato plants, cherry tomato plants. And this is just kind of an experiment to see, like, will you guys grow here? You know, great, I hope so. That'd be amazing. And beside there, I recently put these 2 paving stones in. They were kept here by the previous owner. They were left here by the previous owner, so I was like, perfect. And what I did was I planted creeping thyme around these paving stones, and also around my other steps to my deck. And eventually this will hopefully, and I planted 2 kinds. So this is mother thyme, and it has grown and spread out quite nicely. This is woolly. Oh, and you see a little feather. You got a little feather here. It's a little bit soggy because we got a lot of rain. But this is woolly thyme, and it is not growing as quickly, but it is growing to a degree. So I'm hoping it's just a slow grower, and it's kind of, you know, just kind of setting its roots this year, and by next year it'll be going well. Okay, so again, please excuse the weeds. I did weed this extensively just 4 or 5 days ago, and we've had so much rain. So these are little cucumber seedlings. You're supposed to thin them out to 1, but I feel like I might leave 2 here. I don't know. And then there's another guy right there. Hello, little cuke seedling. And then here's, you know what? Let's be evil. This always feels so wrong, you guys. Look at this poor little guy. I had to pull him out. Yeah, you can just lie there. They get too crowded, honestly, if you leave them too thick. And then I have another row of yellow onions along the front here that are growing really well. And then I put a bunch here because it kind of has some space. And this guy is a zucchini seedling. He's growing quite nicely. Oh yeah, baby. And then his little brother, I had to replant actually because you can see he's just coming up. Maybe you can see that. It might be a little bit blurry, but yes. So I had to reseed. My strategy is, if at first you don't succeed, reseed, reseed, reseed. Just don't give up. It's just pure diligence and bullheadedness that'll take you over the finish line. So looks like we're gonna have 2 zucchini plants. So yeah, so like I said, all these beds in the back I just made with weighed down cardboard, and from, I would say, summer 2024 to about April 2025, and it was, all the grass was there. I did have to aerate the pea beds with a shovel because the grass was a bit compacted, but yeah, basically this is the backyard garden spread. It's gone really well. It's been a ton of work. Don't get me wrong, but it's gone really well. Compost. Got these guys. Weed path. Hey, don't knock it till I tried it. Potato patch. And giant expansion of the garden bed, which next year it'll be even more to weed. But hey, gardeners are gluttons for punishment, aren't we? I'm obsessed with growing food, so bring it on. Okay, so now I'm in the front yard, and these are my perennial beds. Again, labor of love, all dug up with a spade and shaking off sod clods and removing sod clods. Oh my goodness. I definitely didn't need a gym membership last year. So this is rhubarb, of course, favorite on the prairies. We had rhubarb. My grandparents had rhubarb at our farm, so it's just kind of one of those traditional things that you grow. I'll show you what it looks like. It's quite tart. And yeah, so this is one of the beds that I spaded up, and then there's a little bush onion planted right here. I don't know if he's gonna, he looks like he's gonna survive. And I believe he's a perennial. And then this is sage, not a perennial in zone 3. That's a live and learn for me. Okay, fair enough, not a perennial, but we'll get sage this year and be good to go. Yes, and so what there is in all these beds that are mulched is there's a cardboard layer, and then there's au naturel wood chips on top, okay? And like, I don't like using the colored ones, even if they say that they're vegetable dyed or mineral dyed. They just don't feel right. Like, they almost feel a little plasticky or something. I don't know. So I wouldn't trust them around food. They'd be okay around flowers or things like that, probably. So that's what these are, is just natural wood chips. The same kind that you would use in like guinea pig bedding or rabbit bedding. You can usually get them at the hardware store. So that will keep the weeds down better. As you can see, it's not perfect, because of course you're not supposed to mulch right up to the base of the plant because it can cause root rot. So I do have to weed these puppies regularly. I usually weed them when I'm watering them. Okay, so let's continue along. And as you can see, I just left grass paths, and this has worked really nicely. Yes, you do have to mow them, but this is so good for paths. It works really well. Okay, so these 3 guys are dwarf Saskatoon bushes. So Saskatoons are another classic of the prairies, right? We even have a city named after them. And we had Saskatoons on our farm as well. They're delicious, and they're good dehydrated. You can freeze them. So I have 3 little dwarf Saskatoon bushes, and these guys are supposed to get no bigger than 5 feet tall and 5 feet wide. So they're planted 5 feet apart, so that should be good. They take 3 to 5 years to establish, so it'll be at least 3 years before I get any fruit out of these guys. Oh, and rhubarb also takes 3 full years to establish, and you're not supposed to harvest any of it the first 2 years, so that it will just fully establish itself and keep going rhubarb can keep going for like 30, 40 years. I mean, it's amazing. So yeah, so same with these guys. This is a longer term investment. And then, okay, the front part of this bed is all raspberries. And so there's some bare root raspberries planted there. And then these 2 I bought in a pot, so they were already a little bit further along. And you can see that I actually had one red raspberry, and an insect ate the entire thing. You can see it right there. That's where it was. Oops, sorry. An insect ate the entire thing before I could get it, but there was only one, so when there are many more, we'll be able to share. So yeah, so these are the ones that were in the pots. But the ones that I'm a little bit more excited about is these bare root guys, because they literally just came as tiny canes with roots, and I planted them, and they're, as you can see, they're doing quite well. They've been in here 6 or 7 weeks now, these bare root guys, and they are establishing quite nicely. Now we go to the other beds. I've got 2 of these beds, and these are my strawberry beds. And these guys are ever-bearing strawberries, which means that they will produce fruit usually throughout more of the summer. And then these are June-bearing strawberries, and so as you might imagine, they usually produce in June, maybe early July, and then they're done for the year. So this way you can get berries, like you can have a more consistent harvest throughout the year. And these guys were a little bit, slow to start, and they're not going like gangbusters. I've put two applications of steer manure on here, and I get the good stuff directly from a rancher, so that's amazing. It just works a whole lot better than the bag stuff that you get in the store. If all you can get is the bag stuff in the store, that's fine. You just need to use more of it. But if you can get your hands on real steer manure from a real rancher, that's the stuff. Okay, that is the stuff. Okay, so now we're gonna move to this bed, which is asparagus. So asparagus is another long-term investment as far as perennials. It takes, I believe, 3 years. Yeah, 3 years. In the 3rd year, you can start harvesting it, but you're just supposed to leave it alone for the first 2 years. So as you can see, it is growing. I think I have 4 out of the 6 are growing. This guy, I don't know if you can see, he's just got some little tiny green guys starting. So that's good. So I'm hoping the other 2 are gonna kick into gear, but 4 out of 6 would make me happy as well. And then this is a bed for herbs and cherry tomatoes. So I have these 2 plants here are cherry tomatoes, and then we have 2 more cherry tomatoes on this end. And then in the middle, so there's 2 thyme plants and 2 oregano plants. And so originally I was planning again on having a perennial herb garden, because that's what I had in BC. But of course I had to adjust my expectations to zone 3 gardening. So it's fine. You just have to, if you want another harvest, you just have to replant them. And that's actually not terrible, because these usually produce a lot of herbs. Like, you'll get a fair little harvest by fall of these guys. And you won't need that every year. Like, once you've dehydrated them, you're gonna have herbs for possibly a couple years, and then once you've run out, you can replant the situation. So not a terrible thing. That was just something that I had to shift. So again, these are all my perennial beds. Again, 1 annual bed there for tomatoes and herbs, but I'll just take you on the tour this way so you can see my garbage carts. That's pretty exciting. Rhubarb. Here's the dwarf Saskatchewans. There's the awesome raspberries. Oh yeah, and I will also say, so these bare root raspberries are what are called primo cane, and they're raspberries that they produce fruit the first year. So I'm not sure if they plant fruit or produce fruit when you transplant them in that year, because that plants go into transplant shock after you transplant them. And so I'm not sure whether I can expect, probably not. I probably can't expect any fruit off these guys, but next year they'll be going like gangbusters. And the cool thing about primo canes is at the end of the year, you just cut them down. You cut them down to so the canes are 2 to 3 inches tall from off the ground. And then they just regrow the next spring. these raspberries are floricane, and they are, you don't cut them down. So I'm gonna have to, remember not to, I'll remember, but because these weren't cheap. So yeah, so these ones you have to actually trim out the old canes once they're spent, right? So it takes a little bit more finesse, right? These guys, you raise them nearly to the ground at the end of each year. These ones you have to pick through with your pruning shears and stuff. But yeah, so there's the whole spread: raspberries, strawberries, asparagus, tomatoes and herbs, Saskatoons, rhubarb, and a bush onion. Oh yeah, baby. So once these guys are filled in more, that may be next year, I'll do an update video. But yes, basically, like I said, labor of love, doing this with a spade and the sod clods, and then the sod clods luckily could be used to weigh down the cardboard. This bed too has anywhere where there was like a big expanse of space, I put cardboard down and put mulch on top, and it is helping considerably keep the weeds down. So that I would definitely say that surprisingly, cardboard is a gardener's best friend. I didn't realize this because it can be used as a weed barrier slash mulch, and then it can also be used as compost. So it's the bomb. But anyway, you guys, this is my rural Saskatchewan update. My last gardening video was July 2021. So we are now at June 20th, 2025. And Willow is back in the garden. Yoo-hoo!